Good evening.
Thank you for having me.
Congressman, let me start with you. Can Republicans really dress up their unpopular ideas by playing word games? Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. We saw the statement made by Mr. McConnell talking about a bipartisan opposition. Look at this.
This bill's top selling point, according to the president, was that both parties should like it. Yet so far, the only thing both parties in Congress seem to agree on is that it's got to be a better way than this.
Both parties should agree on. I think only two senators, Democrat, voted against this. How is that bipartisan until you look at Rove's memo where he says make it look bipartisan? So they're really playing almost a shell game because Rove is saying sell it as bipartisan opposition. I doubt if you can make two people a bipartisan representation, at least of the other party.
Well, look, this is the situation. President Obama is lifting this economy, even against the outrageous opposition he's getting. We've seen now some 24 months of private sector job growth continuously. We've seen 15 months of sale increases. The nation's retailers yesterday just announced that they're going to hire over 100,000 people before Thanksgiving to get ready for the holiday season. We have a reality now. I talked to the new Secretary of Commerce today, his second day on the job. We're talking about manufacturing. We've seen at the front edge of this recovery some 300,000+ new jobs in manufacturing. I visited manufacturing plants right outside of Philadelphia. Boeing, that had 4,000 employees 2 years ago, has now got 6,000, got 3 shifts running because the president gave Boeing the largest contract in the history of the country. I was out in Hartford, Connecticut, saw 20,000 people working, putting jet engines together. We have work to do, and we have people who are unemployed. They want to say, well, there are millions of people unemployed, so therefore Obama's not doing his job. Reverend, let's poll those people who are unemployed. Do they want to vote for the party that's voted against them having unemployment benefits, voted against help the state so that they don't lose their homes, voted against health care extension under the
Well, that's
going to
be the question, Congressman. But, David, is it not unwise to underestimate the Republicans because they've been able to master half-truths and distortions and outright lies in the past to their political gain?
It is unwise to underestimate their ability to handle spin. We had the healthcare fight, the government takeover of the healthcare system, death panels. We've had 2 years of Republicans saying the stimulus did not create any jobs. Now, there were problems with the stimulus, but the CBO said that it lifted employment by 2.5 to 3 million jobs. So they've learned very well, and Karl Rove has learned this lesson, that if you come up with the right buzz phrases and the right words that feed to people's pre-existing biases about government and Washington, that they can at least fight to a draw, if not win. So this is, it doesn't matter where the truth is here. It matters whether they have the ability to prey on these biases.
Well, how do the Democrats defeat it? How do they protect themselves against these distortions and spin that has worked in the past?
The way you do this, and the congressman can tell you, is you just have to be forceful again and again, and you have to be direct. Remember when the Clinton administration started the war room? So as soon as they come out with these memos and talking points that are wrong or that play with the truth or that are fabrications, you got to cut them off at the knees right away. And that's really the president's job more than anyone else, because he has the bully pulpit. And he has to really, he has to campaign not just against the do-nothing Congress. He has to campaign against the Republican anti-Obama machine. He has to say they're telling things that aren't true. Let's go down them and not let them germinate and get into the bloodstream. That's the thing that the White House has to be mindful of.
Now, Congressman, lately we've seen the president in the last couple of weeks that I just played a montage. He's hit the road. He has started hitting hard. He's starting to do almost a mobile war room kind of strategy. He's got an infrastructure bill coming up. Look at this. They're going to have to vote on an infrastructure bill, which is really making them take a stand. And it will be paid for by 0.2% of taxpayers with a surtax on just 0.2%, which means it will not affect most Americans. Is he doing enough? Does he have to keep doing this to offset the spin and distortions they're going to try to hit him with?
Look, the quarterback is running the right plays and he's throwing the ball. What we have to do is be part of the team. One of the reasons why Republicans are effective is that they all go out and they all put their message out, even if it's incorrect. But we have to tell the truth. We will see all of our troops out of Iraq by the end of the year. That's a commitment made. That's a commitment kept. We've turned the economy around. When you see 23, 24 months of consecutive job growth in our private sector, and you see the president standing up today saying, look, it's not a bailout to help police officers and teachers and help people stay in their homes. These are not bailouts. These are Americans. This is our commitment. And I think that the president's being effective, and we see that the Republican Congress has been able to work their way into single digits. I think they're at 7 or 8% approval rating. The American public will not be fooled as long as we as Democrats don't lose our ability to speak truth.
And if we
even
go
in the
ahead
midst
and
of the
fight,
spin.
I think that's what David's saying. You got to fight, and you can't let it get in their bloodstream, David. And when you fight like that, look at this in the last polling. The president has gone up 9 points in terms of Americans that trust who will be able to create jobs, who they trust to create jobs. And the Republicans have gone down 6 points. And even in the Republicans, if you look at the polling numbers, Republicans support infrastructure spending. 54% of Republicans, 56% of Republicans support taxing millionaires, 58% payroll tax cuts, 63% money for teachers and first responders. It's the Democrats and the presidents to lose, but you can get bluffed out of it if you allow them to spin it and let it get inside people's systems before you fight back.
You got to, win the policy, win the politics, and win the narrative. There's one sort of disadvantage that the president has now and other Democrats, which is that they kind of lost the fight over the first stimulus. As I noted earlier, that did raise employment levels as much as actually had been predicted. Right. It's just that the administration thought that the starting point would be higher in terms of employment than it was. So there was still pretty profound unemployment afterwards. But the stimulus created about as many jobs as people thought. But nevertheless, the Republicans were out there for 2 years saying stimulus didn't work, it didn't work, it didn't work. And the administration and other Democrats were not able to win that fight. So now it's the Republican play is to try to make this sound like the second stimulus. So they're going to have to really work hard to beat that back.
Let me just say this, David. When Muhammad Ali was up on the ropes, they were saying he was taking a lot of hits. But the truth of the matter is that this will be the only president in our lifetime. He'll be able to go to every corner of this country and point to actual projects, actual people who went to work, things got done. In Philadelphia alone, our transit system has done $200 million in projects
on budget. But we've got to get that out there, and that's the point.
I don't deny
I got to go, Congressman Chaka Fattah, David Corn. I have to keep it moving, but thank both of you for joining me this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rev.
Rick Perry's